Hey everyone, and welcome back. Our very own creative director, Matt Slightam.
Thank you, Tom. Kind words.
It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you too. And
Matt, what are you going to be sharing with everyone today?
I'm going to be sharing with everyone some of the process which goes into making the exclusive products, our awesome exclusive products at Design Cuts, which we made with the lovely designers, and also the takeaways for everyone. What can you take away? What's the real value you can get from our process into making your own digital products? Because everybody starts somewhere. Everyone starts as a designer who's never made a digital product. What can you use? How can you get started? And how can you make these awesome products yourself and make some money?
And there's a whole spectrum when it comes to digital products. Obviously, a lot of people try and do it and don't find any success. On the other end of the spectrum is what you've all seen this week.
Working with some lovely designers, it's been brilliant. And I think everyone just has to remember that, 2-3 years ago, these designers, they've had design careers. They now start to want to make digital design products. They had to start out as well. So, they've come a long way, and anyone can do it. Anyone with a design background can make these products if they're willing to put in the hard work and the time and just, slowly level up.
Definitely. Although there are no shortcuts to anything in life, today is really about Matt taking you by the hand and showing you a lot of the things you should be doing and trying to make it a bit more systematic, because a lot of people just don't know where to start. So without further ado, over to the super talented Mr. Matt.
Thank you very much. Right, let's see if I can remember how to share my screen. Super talented. There we go. Right,
here we go.
Cool. So let me just full screen this. Today, I am going to be talking to you to how to create the best-selling digital design products. So can everyone see that okay? Are we all working?
Amazing. Yeah, loud and clear.
Amazing. Okay, so what is it? Basically, it's an insider view to making Design Cuts exclusive products. So we're going to be covering what are Design Cuts exclusive products, how we make them, and what you can learn from them, because it's all very well saying, we make these awesome products, great, but you might think, look, these are the people at the top of the industry. I'm just starting out. What can I actually take from it? Well, I've broken this down all the way through the steps to give you the key takeaways that you can take into your own design work and your own career. And finally, how to get started, just how do I get started in something that might be a little bit intimidating to begin with.
Amazing.
So what are they? Well, they are these awesome big products. They're unique ideas and angles. So they're unique. They might never have been done before, or there's something that might have been done before that they are going to do it, elevate it to a new level. They're created by our leading designers who we might have been watching or nurturing or working with for years. And we might reach out to them and say, look, we would love to work with you. We'd love to. We've got this great idea. Would you like to make the product? And then they are the highest quality, most innovative, and most comprehensive products on the market. If you just saw any of the sessions over the last 3 days or so, you will know that these products are massive. They leave no stone unturned. We just throw the absolute book at them to make these kind of, just industry leading products, basically, that both the designer and Design Cuts can be hugely proud of. Some of the designers we've worked with in the past are obviously the amazing Lisa Glanz and Latino Type, and we've got Julia Dreams, we've got Pretty Little Lines, so some really, really great designers and innovative products. And this year I think we're just taking it into an even higher level. And if anyone saw, the ultimate brush toolbox from Trailhead, or Slay Out by Shout Bam, or Flower and Leaf by Pretty Little Lines, or obviously Leslie's amazing Texas and Elements, Rox Luchstein, or Cirqueworks' amazing comic book, or the fantastic Ultimate Branding Collection by Seventh Avenue. They're just amazing products, totally on the next level. Sure, and they're worth going through in detail, and it's worth just anyone looking to create digital design products, go look at the presentation of these products, which I will be showing you later on, because in itself it's a work of art. It really is. So how are they made, and what are the takeaways? So how do we actually make these products? Where do you even start? And what can you take away for your own digital design product career? So, right, there I am in my research lab coat on the right-hand side. But actually, it's not entirely accurate because Adrian, the lovely product curator and an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to products, would be there with me right at the beginning. We're doing the research phase. We are finding gaps in the market. So we spend all our time looking at digital products and geeking out over every single category in digital design. And we mentally make notes of what are good products already in the market, what might be good products, where there might be gaps in the market, and then we align those with designer talent. So, for instance, it was kind of obvious that there was a little bit of a gap in the market for a lettering layout product, kind of more of a lettering layout course. There are other products that do lettering layout, but it could be taken even further. You could elevate it beyond that and kind of find a new angle on that to kind of expand that sector. So we knew, for instance, that you can see here that Shoutbam had already made the kickoff lettering toolbox. They're awesome. There've been a lot of sessions for us. They give a lot of value to their community. Very, very talented. So, sorry, 1 second. Do you have a drink?
And yeah, as you say, what the gap was a real kind of educational resource, a masterclass, so to speak.
That's exactly it. There's already sort of lettering layout products, but it's not something that actually taught you how to use negative space, how to do hierarchy, etc., etc. So the next step was to literally just boom, open up a Google document and write the idea down. So we're saying, we're thinking of following up the kickoff lettering toolbox. We'd like to focus on composition of hand lettering and associated materials. We're thinking it would probably be in Procreate, but it might be nicer later on if you do it in Illustrator as well, which is something you probably saw that we're thinking about. And it would be how to do layouts from simple progressing to complex with negative space, how the eye moves around the design, how to create layouts based on different applications, t-shirts, magazines, posters, because you've probably seen Shoutbam's awesome work. And if you've seen their website on lettering layout and some of the stuff they do, it's very difficult to think, well, how do I get there as a layperson? But the gap between beginners and their level is quite large. And then you might look at color theory and sample palettes and sample layouts and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see French Kiss Collection's ideas, they're coming together as well. And this is us just literally, or me sitting down after my initial chat with Adrian and just solidifying these ideas before we then reach out to the designers. And the next step is obviously for Stacey, a wonderful relationship manager, to reach out to them and say, look, we've had this idea for a product. It's got a good synergy with your previous products. Would you be interested in creating it? And fortunately, Shoutbam turned around and said, hell yeah.
It's true.
Absolutely awesome, right? So yeah, there we go. And just to give you a sneak preview, so there we've got the kickoff lettering toolbox. It shows you all about how to do lettering. The next logical step is to create the Slayout Lettering Masterclass, which is one of our exclusive products, which then teaches you about layout. So in your journey in lettering, you can, once you've finished learning how to do lettering, you can then go into lettering layout. So there's a great synergy there.
So cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. And you can see there, there's social proof. So yeah, awesome product. What can I say? Just awesome, really awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what are the takeaways from this section? Well, careful research maximizes sales and creates stronger products. It totally does. If you immerse yourself in the market, if you look at everybody else's products, if you see, what has been done, what hasn't been done, what has been done, but the idea was only half actually implemented, or it's not, it can be elevated to a new level, you'll start to see those gaps that you can actually exploit for products. And that creates much stronger products. And you might also be following, podcasts, etc., and live sessions like this one or like Jimbo's, and you might see people going, wouldn't it be nice if, could we please have, etc. And you can start to build this really good idea of the kind of products you could actually make, which would then exploit those gaps in the market.
It's not guessing, basically.
No, it's really not guessing at all. Playing to your strength produces the highest quality products. It absolutely does. So in the case of obviously this one and Shoutbam, they are absolutely awesome at lettering and awesome at layout. So it's pretty obvious that the kind of products that they should produce would play to their main strengths, which is that. And by doing that, they're going to produce the highest quality product. And then finally, always keep brand equity in mind. It's not just about this product. Well, what is brand equity? Well, brand equity is a reputation for your products and services that you can then carry on to future products and services. So again, if we look at Shoutbam, this would be their layout lettering. They got a load of brand equity by doing that. It's a popular product. They're known for the quality of that product. So you can then ride off that brand equity with your next product. So you
Love
know,
it.
really make sure people know that you made that product. Talk to your community about it, sell it, get on live sessions, etc. And that leaves you set up for the next product. So here we go to the really salubrious parts of product creation, project management. But you know, project management is super, super important. So in this case, we're talking about project management scope, which is confirming the project scope and outlining the value proposition of the product right at the start, which is really, really, really important. You shouldn't just plow into the product. You've really got to think about what's in the product, what's going to be the value for the customer, and what are the benefits, etc. So we'll go into this in
Awesome.
more
And
detail.
oh yeah, perfect.
So yeah, just to zoom in for you, because you probably, if you're like me,
Yeah,
you get
I
zoomed
was
in.
squinting. Yeah.
So yeah, so initially what we're laying out here is, and again, this is just in Google Documents. Anyone could set a similar kind of document up to this, and I would recommend you do, to actually just get all of this outlined, all of it in one place. Really, really handy. And then, you know, if you are collaborating with someone else, or if you're getting feedback on your work, and I will mention in a little bit how to do that and how to build up a network to make it like a virtual creative director. Having it in Google Documents or in Dropbox or something like that, where you can comment in a collaborative way, is really, really powerful. So you can see here where we're outlining the initial concept and saying, you know, this is for Trailhead's brush pack. I don't know if everybody saw that, but oh my God, what a product. What a product. So what is it? It's a one-stop source for potentially every single art brush that every digital artist has got to buy. We would like it to work in Photoshop, Procreate, Affinity, Affinity Designer, Adobe Illustrator. And bear in mind that when we reached out to Nathan at Trailhead, I thought, you know, this is actually quite a big ask. And we would like maybe 200 to 225 brushes in there, every single medium: watercolor, gouache, acrylic, oil, pastel, crayon, charcoal, fine liners, airbrushes. And whilst you're at it, let's have some bonus materials in there. How about papers, textures, and overlays? You know, just a killer product. Oh yeah, and how about a PDF guide and yeah, installation guides, bonuses, etc. So we put this out to Nathan at Trailhead, and he was like, "Do you know what? Yeah, I'd love to do it." I'm like, brilliant. So once you start making it, you can then also start thinking about the value proposition of the product. What's the value proposition? Well, the value proposition is the benefits of using that product, the differentiators of using that product, and the problems that product will solve for the customers. It's a really, really powerful tool because it can keep you on track for making your product. And you can also use it within all your marketing material at the end. You can use it in your product overview. You can use it in your previews, etc. So actually, Trailhead, we ended up with over 300 brushes. It was crafted from real life media. You know, all the brushes, including all of those things. It adds a realistic look to the artwork. It works with all the industry standard apps, unlike most of the other brush sets out there. It's been tested and developed. Oh, this is a really good one, actually. As a differentiator, right at the beginning, we said to Nathan that obviously you're going to need some really knockout previews. Why don't we reach out to designers who are well known for working in watercolor, gouache, acrylic, oil, and pastel right at the beginning of the product, right at the beginning of making it, and use them to give feedback to make sure we develop this product really well. And then off the back of that, they can give testimonials to give social proof to the product to help us sell it. And they can give previews of their work. So it's a huge differentiator for this product. It means that we know, or all the people who might want to buy brush products out there, know it's already been tested by artists. They don't have to wonder if this product is great. They know it's great because it's being tested by people who, are known for how great they are at watercolor, gouache, acrylic, oil, etc.
Yeah, I love that touch. And getting it battle tested, so to speak, is such a great tip, because you will get feedback from specialists that you just
For
could never
sure.
have got by yourself, right? It's like the ultimate focus group.
It is. It's the ultimate focus group. And not only that, not only do you get the benefit of someone helping you develop it and giving you feedback, but you also get the benefit at the end when you put your previews together, and I'll show you some later on, of saying, wow, look, this is what they thought about my product. And they're like, yeah, we thought this product was absolutely awesome. So while someone else is looking at your product previews, they can see all these designers who think your product's great, and they're going to think, wow, I want to buy it now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Love
and on
that.
top of that, there's a load of problems it solves as well. Always have the right brush, saving you time, assurance that the brushes behave like real media, perfect brushes for polished work, etc., etc. Massively compelling. You are making sure that anyone looking at this product thinks, I have to buy this. I need this product.
Love that.
So, okay. So, did we look at even the scope? So we got to look at the scope. We did look at the scope. So you might want to look at a graphical way of representing that. And I need to dig through my notes to find what this was made in. It's made in Xmind. So this is Leslie from French Kiss's representation of the scope of her product. Really, really nice way to do it, actually, visually. And then she could actually share it with us and say, look, what do you think? So another way of looking at your scope, with visual, we're designers, might be looking at it this way. Look at it in a tree diagram. And it's possible to see instantly the scope of the product. So you might think all of this is pretty daunting. Oh my goodness gracious me, I've got a lot of work to do. It's perfectly natural to think that when you're putting a product together. So make it easy for yourself. Put together a timeline, okay? And agree a timeline if with yourself, or if you're working with someone else, or even if you're just working with yourself and not working with someone else, put a timeline together and then break the deliverables for the project together into easy to digest bites. So again, we're going back to Trailhead's product, the brush set. He's looking at his art markers. He thinks, I'll have those completed by then. I'm looking at the airbrushes, I'll complete them by then. The texture brushes by then, the bonus materials by then, any documents included, and then I will be working towards this launch date of September the 11th. And what that's doing is just basically you're making yourself a tick list, so you can go through and say, yeah, I've done that. I feel good about myself, right? I've done that. I feel good about myself. You're not looking at the whole project and thinking, where do I start? You know where to start, and you can just tick it off as you go, and it's much more manageable, And it's good to work towards a timeline as well, because obviously products can't go on forever. That you'll have to draw a line under it at some point and move on to the next product.
Yeah.
So what you can do, if you've got a really large product, if there's going to be so much in it, you can adjust the deliverables as you go to stick to the timeline and reduce the stress. Because one thing that's always worth remembering is really the only person who knows the scope of your product is you. When you sell it, no one's going to know the extra bits that you were going to put in. So if the product's already really big, if it's already comprehensive, and if you think, do you know what, this is running really long, I'm kind of running out of energy with this, you can take those additional elements and you can release those as an update for the product later, and it's actually a marketing opportunity. So you can think, right, I can't quite get all of these elements in at the minute, but I'll release, as many of the big designers do, like Lisa Glanz, release an update for the product later and remarket the product. So yeah, turn it into an opportunity.
So quick question on timeframes.
Sure.
How would you recommend people do this? Do they pick a launch date and reverse engineer it, or do they kind of make a best guess by breaking it down into sections and just kind of projecting how long they think it would take for each bit?
Well, for the exclusive products, obviously we have to work to a timeline. So the way we worked was we had a launch date, and then we had a massive scope, and we had to work out what we could do within that timeline. If someone is putting together their own product, I would say slightly work the other way around. Break it up into all the chunks, guesstimate how long each of those chunks is going to take, and then have a launch date from that in the future. And then if that launch date they think is too far away, then perhaps reduce the scope of the product.
Yeah, it's smart. I think whichever way you do it, having that date of launch is helpful, because otherwise it can just creep forever, and we see that so common.
And personal accountability, and what's actually quite powerful as well is, if obviously everyone doesn't have a creative director watching them do the product, but they might have a community on Instagram, or they might have friends or designers, etc. Tell them when you think you're going to reduce the product. So I'm probably going to be releasing it around about this date, because that will help give you the motivation to actually do it. You know, because people might be saying, how's that product doing? But again, and don't worry about the stress, because you can adjust the deliverables. And at the end of the day, that date can slip a little bit, but it is good to try and keep a momentum going with these digital products. So, okay, so what's the takeaway checklist for that section? Well, careful planning saves time, and it creates stronger products. Again, plan it out, otherwise you will get yourself into such a pickle. If anyone who's ever tried to do a project without project management will know, you're just not going to know where you are in the project, what needs to be done. So get yourself that checklist, tick it off. And you'll feel better about yourself. And if you break it up, it will just reduce the stress. Yeah, changing the scope again as you go can reduce stress and create marketing opportunities later. And getting feedback at every stage saves time. Now, I expected at this point everyone to be thinking, brilliant, how do I get this feedback? I haven't got a creative director. I haven't got someone to give me feedback. How's it done? Well, it is possible. And I have actually got my own Instagram, which will help you how to do this. And I'll help you link up to that later, and a couple of posts which tell you how to do it. But the short version is basically you make your own virtual creative director by reaching out to other designers, by reaching out to other leading designers within your category, within your design category, and you just ask. You just say, hey, I'm starting off my design career in products. I'm putting together this product. Would you be able to give me some advice? And odds on, they're probably actually going to say, yeah, all right. Because all the digital product designers I know out there are absolutely lovely. They've all been there. They've all done it. And you can also reach out to other designers that whose work you respect, or even friends who have got a good eye, who will be honest and objective about your work and anything you tell them. So you can kind of make your own network and creative director to help you move your own products forward as quickly as possible. Because if you try and do it on your own, it's very, very easy to get blind to your own work. You really need a second pair of eyes on things.
Agreed. I've been in the design world for a lot of years, and I don't think there's a single designer that I trust as much as Matt when it comes to this stuff. So yeah,
that's very kind. I think I'm lucky to have obviously I've run my own design agency in the past and had designers working under me, etc., and done commercial work and a really big spread of different things. I think which is really helpful in your career to make you a rounded designer. To become a creative director, there's a long path to get there. But being a creative director is one of the most fun jobs in the world. I absolutely love it. Love it. And all you're really being is kind of a catalyst for other designers, and you're giving them the support that you kind of wish you had when you were a designer working on your own, if that makes sense. Because for years and years and years, I was a designer who worked on my own at home before I then started employing other people to work under me. So I know what it's like and how difficult it can be, and how you can look at your own work and think, I've been looking at this for 2 days. Where do I take it now? And you need someone else to look at it and go, well, what about this, this, and this? And it's not that you probably wouldn't have thought of that, but it might have taken you days to get there. Whereas it can take someone else seconds, because they're used to doing it and because they've got a fresh eye on it.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Okay. So the next step, you've done all that kind of, project planning side of things. The next step is to look at mood boards. Now, unfortunately, what I can't do is show you our designers' mood boards for our products. And the reason is because the nature of a mood board is you go out online, you get on Google, you get on Pinterest, you get wherever, and you start pooling graphical resources of other people's work you like, of design you like, of this you've seen here, this you've seen there, etc. And we just don't have the copy. We can't reach out to everyone to get their approval to show their work like that. So Nathan's mood boards for the brush set looked actually very much like this. So I just quickly put these together using his product and shouted out some of the designers across the bottom as well, whose work that he actually used within these particular mock-ups. But what you basically do is you just put together, inspirational resources that might give you artistic direction or ideas direction for your product.
Amazing. Yeah, everyone loves Pinterest, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. So Pinterest is a fantastic way to do it. Shoutbound, for instance, used Pinterest. Nathan put together a really lovely PDF which looked very similar to this. Some people use Google Documents, but Dropbox, however you want to do it. I often use Illustrator to do it because I'm a geek on Illustrator. I love it. So yeah, whatever floats your boat basically, and gets your But make notes over the top of it as well. Scribble, make notes. Say, what about this? What about that? Or that's a good idea. Or this brush would be nice. Or that's nice. Oh, look at this. It's get yourself excited. But the takeaways for this is it's about inspiration. It's not about copying. It's never about copying. It's always about taking ideas and elevating those ideas to a new level. You're finding new angles and you're bringing new value to the customer. It will do your brand no good whatsoever to copy, because everyone will just look at your product and think, well, that's just the same as this product. What will do it a whole world of good is if they look at it and think, wow, that's a really new and interesting way to look at it. If we look at French Kisses texture pack, for instance, that's bridging the gap between textures and between commercial graphic design. That's a whole new way to look at textures, and it's fresh and it's vibrant, and people will notice that about your brand and think, wow, there's someone who's leading that sector and pushing it forward. Really, really good for your brand equity.
Yeah, totally agree with all of that. And I think what a lot of people do, which is, as you say, Matt, definitely not the right approach, is they will see someone who's really successful in this field and they think, well, if I just do something similar to what they're doing and they're that successful, I'll have a slice of the pie. I'll have a piece of their success, even if it's not to the same scale.
For
And we did
sure.
a podcast on this on this designers show, because it happens to Lisa Glanz all the time.
It's
And
awful, yeah.
you're never going to win the game when someone looks at you and goes, oh, they're like a second rate version of whoever,
No,
because you'll always be
absolutely.
second best. You need to be your own best version of yourself, right?
Yeah, sure. And it's not something we look upon, kindly at Design Cuts when somebody pushes a product to us and we look at it and think, well, hang on a minute, that's just basically the same as that product. And you can see that someone's, well, for better words, copied it. It's not nice, and it won't do their career any good doing it, really. Take
Yeah.
inspiration, by all means, look at what the other great designers are doing and draw inspiration, but make it your own. Find your own path, find your own way, because people will notice and they'll love you for it. So you've done your mood board. What's next? Well, initial designs are the next step. You're establishing direction and focus, and you're working out your concepts. There's no point in plowing into your product if you don't have a really good idea of actually what you're going to make, how it's going to look. Spend some time, take a breather, spend some time and think. As I said, here's the Slay Out lettering masterclass. So, and here's them just working out, for instance, how line brushes might be used for like text composition, etc. So again, they've had an idea and they're saying, look, how can we implement it now? How are we actually going to do this? Because we kind of know what we want to do, and load of respect for Jimbo and Taya here, because actually it's easy for me to say, or us to say, here's a concept. The really difficult bit is then working out how you're going to teach it in a digital product. How do you teach negative space? How do you teach layout? How do you teach hierarchy? How do you teach? So that's what this is then doing.
Yeah, totally.
Here's another awesome example with Chris at Pretty Little Lines, and I've just got so much respect for her drawing skills, because she's just awesome, just off the scale awesome. So obviously we reached out to Chris and said, look, we know your specialism is really floral, so let's do a branding pack based around your specialism. Again, we're using your main skill set to make the product really, really powerful. And let's make it as versatile as possible. And you can use it for invites, you can use it for branding, you can use it for stationery. So Chris is like, great, let's do it. So she sent back some like initial designs, sort of colorways, etc. And I was like, yeah, they look really, really beautiful. But I think maybe we could explore some different colorways, something a bit more vibrant. A friend of mine is a wedding florist, and you can see the florals in the bottom left here of one of her floral compositions, as it were. And I said, look, we could just look at some really vibrant colorways and flowers and really make this a bit different. So Chris is like, brilliant, totally took it on board, went away, came up with a load of different colorways. But as well as that, we're like, well, wow, wouldn't it be awesome if you could actually recolor the florals? Because one of the things about, these floral packs is you get them and they come in one colorway. That's not,
Yeah, they're really rigid quite often.
really, yeah, absolutely, really, really rigid. So Chris did a load of awesome work and testing, which she sent through a test file here. This is one of her test files in Photoshop to me, of just the best way to recolor things in Photoshop. Because I don't know if anyone's ever adjusted the color and hue in Photoshop thinking, oh, it's really easy. I'm going to turn that blue to orange or that orange to purple, shift the hue. It just doesn't work. It totally falls apart. So she did a load of work for the best way to do that. And then on top of that, we were like, well, wouldn't it be great if you could like turn the elements on and off in the flowers? So you could start with a really detailed illustration and turn it on and off and just show the lines and just show this. It's just, again, you're just really getting the differentiation for the product. You're making it really useful and you're making it stand out. And anyone who hasn't watched Chris's session, go and check it out. Man, it's an awesome product, just awesome. And I love awesome flowers, really nice.
I love the work you both did on the colorways, because Chris in her session actually admitted her comfort zone is often more on the pink side, and I think she really enjoyed diverging from that. So
it is, but again, it's easy for me to say, look, let's jump out of the comfort zone. It's Chris who did all the hard work, who put those colorways together, who just really stepped it up and just put her foot on the gas and produced a product which is just absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So yeah, I've got the easy job. Basically, the designers have got the tricky job. So this is the awesome rock with the wonderful Let's Shine headline font. It was obvious to us that there's a gap in the market for like a really, really nice. There's other headline fonts, but you know what? They never come with a lowercase. They never come with a lowercase. So you've got this headline font. You always need to go off and find a complementary lowercase which works with it. Real bugbear. So I reached out to Rock because we've worked on products before, including sort of Montreux, which is a really beautiful font. If you haven't checked that one out, go and check it out. And I said, look, how about making a headline font which comes with a lowercase, and as well as comes with a lowercase, maybe it can come with a load of ligatures as well, like Montreux did. So it's really great for branding. And he's absolutely awesome. His eye for detail is just ridiculous. So these are just his initial designs for the font, looking at the letter forms, looking at some of the ligatures, etc., the titling ligatures and things, and how they might be used for branding and the variety to help with that initial design phase just before then going into making the font. And this font's got an awesome differentiator as well because it's a variable font. And if anyone didn't see that session, it means basically that if you're using a Photoshop or Illustrator or Sketch or many of these modern design applications, you don't have to just go, I'm using, you just like, doesn't have to be like light or medium or heavyweight. You can actually just get a slider and change the weight. So with this one, not only can you get a slider and change the weight, you can get a slider and change the height. You can get a slider and change the X height as well. So you can change the height of the lowercase letters, meaning it's just a really, really awesome, versatile font. Again, didn't see the session, go and check it out. I think a lot of designers don't.
It's really cool.
Didn't probably know about variable fonts until Rosh started educating me on it. And I can't imagine a better person to educate because he is, I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, so he's a font geek. And his eye
totally
is amazing. So many fonts, even from the big foundries, we see them and perhaps some of the letter forms aren't quite consistent or they're really good, but the kerning, the spacing between the letters, between different letters isn't as consistent as they could be. Rock's is always bang on perfection. Just, yeah, huge amount of respect. And this is why we go back to work with him again and again and again. Whew, okay, here we go. So what's the takeaway? There's lots to say in this session. What is the takeaway checklist for this? Yet again, gathering feedback to fine tune your project scope and design direction. Gather that feedback, talk to people. It will help move your design work forwards. It will supercharge it. Talk to other people in the field who know what you're talking about. Watch live sessions, learn, absorb, be a sponge. Yeah, and save project time by not going down a rabbit hole. Unless, Leslie, you're going down a rabbit hole to geek out with your textures, which is fine. I saw that in your session. But you don't want to go down like the incorrect rabbit hole by thinking, oh, I've got this idea. Oh, I'm going to do it. Flesh it out first, because it might become obvious to you. Or if you show it to someone else, they might go, well, hang on a minute. What about this? Or hang on a minute, you haven't thought about this. And that might completely change the direction of your product and make it much, much stronger, or save you just a shed load of time. So
Love that.
So your project's rolling, it's on the go, you've got your ideas, you're doing your design work, etc. It's all coming together. What should you do? Again, get some ongoing feedback on it. And this is just, well, I need the biggest screen in the world, I think, if I was going to put all the emails, all the correspondence, and everything for the exclusive products on it, because there's a lot. There was a lot of talking about ideas and feedback and sending things and emails. And what about this? What about that? Leslie and myself geeking out, as you can see. Look, it's an extra large. All textures will be a whopping 5,286 by 7,400 pixels. It was really thought about. These things are really, really thought about in depth.
I love that people are getting this insight. It's so cool, because again, they don't realize, because we normally don't share this stuff publicly, quite how much there is behind the scenes.
No, absolutely. And here's Scott sending through the cover of his comic world book and just saying, what do you think of this? And here's Vera from 7th Avenue sending through some design work again. Leslie sending through which I absolutely love, this perfume bottle. I mean, Leslie, it's just awesome. In terms of bridging textures to commercial designs, you just knocked it out of the park. It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you a couple of examples now of what this ongoing feedback might look like. So this is the awesome cover, actually, for Trailhead's Ultimate Brush Toolbox. In the top right here is the first iteration that Nathan sent through to me. So he sent it through and he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, well, okay, great. It ticks a lot of the boxes. What have we got here? We have got your logo for brand credibility, which is brilliant, because people know you're a quality producer. So it plays off your brand equity, and it will build equity for future products. We have got software compatibility, which is super important. I don't want to have to click through to a product to find out what it's compatible with. I want to find out from the cover. And then we've got what it actually is. It's the Ultimate Brush Toolbox with 300 real media brushes. I'm like, great, okay. But what we could also add to that, is we could also add what's actually in it. Add the details. Again, if you want to entice someone through to find out what's in your product, just tell them what's in it. So we've got 300 real media brushes, and it includes oil, acrylic, watercolor, gouache, value. Here's all the value you're going to get, and textures. That people are going to be under no illusions looking at this cover that what is in it is a massive product that they need to look at. Oh, apart from, and then he's also got this awesome lion that he's painted on it as well, which is just stunning.
Yeah, it really is.
And then I also just made some comments in terms of because there's kind of a graduate fill here going in from the background. I'm like, well, maybe it would be a bit stronger without that. It might be a bit cleaner and put more emphasis on the beautiful painting. And in terms of the colorway for the text, that we could do a little bit of work on the hierarchy of that as well, making sure they look at Brush Toolbox first, which is the most important, and then Ultimate, then what's actually in it. So you can play, as Shoutband well know with their products, you can play with someone's eye when they look at a bit of design with the coloration, and you should really think about how someone's eye is moving around a composition. There's quite a nice circular composition actually here, around from Ultimate Toolboxes to the lion's eyes, round their face to their logo and back. So it kind of traps your eye in the composition. And I also said, look, well, maybe because the original text was quite heavy, very, very heavy font, quite bold, and actually really bold fonts can inherently look just a little bit cheaper than using a lighter weight font. but at the same time, we wanted legibility. So I'm like, well, let's look at it designed in place. So a really, really good top tip for this is go to your product category, take a screen grab of that, embed your PSD into that and design it in place. So you know if it's going to be legible, because people are mainly going to be looking at this cover, really, actually in a grid. Make sure it stands out, make sure it's legible, make sure all the text is legible. So here's us just looking bottom left at some different weights of fonts as well. And yeah, the final cover we came up with was this one in the bottom left. It included, all the same information, but even more. It's still really clean, it's strong, it's powerful. The visual hierarchy is being thought about in detail of what actually people read first. And I think it's just an absolutely stunning cover. So awesome work, Nathan. Awesome work.
Yeah, it really is. And people are loving the tip of embedding it and previewing it in the grid. That's so powerful, because when you look at that and think, where does my eye get drawn to? For me,
Yeah.
it's the brush toolbox. And this was actually something I learned from you, Matt, the power of looking away. You might look a bit silly doing it. I know people can see me at the
That's
bottom,
it.
but
Yeah,
look
yeah.
away and very quickly look back and ask yourself, where did my eye go to first? It's really
That's it.
powerful.
Yeah, and also, yeah, so that's really good. And you can use that all the time in your design work. Just go away and make a cup of tea, come back, make some notes when you come back, and then actually check those notes against your design work. Because when you're going to make the most damage to your design work isn't when you're constantly looking at it, it's when you go away and come back. So you can have those little micro breaks where you just look away and back, which is really good for positioning of things. If you're looking at the balance of your composition, it's really powerful. And if you're looking at color balance as well, if you're looking at the color balance, if you're going to commercial print or something, it's really important to look away and look back, because you get blind to it. And it's important to take something I've posted on my Instagram as well, these breaks, because you'll actually do your design work more quickly if you take more breaks, ironically. Because otherwise you'll just be like, oh, you
Yeah,
get so
know that
stuck,
well.
so blind to it. Another good example, I hope everyone's got plenty of time today, is the Ultimate Branding Collection, where some awesome, it's an amazing branding collection. And the point of this is to make your branding work a lot easier. These are a load of pre-designed logos and pre-designed logo elements based around 5 industries. So, you've got kids in there, you've got lifestyle, you've got IT. And if you've got a branding project and, you need to get it done quickly, you need that shortcut, this has got all those shortcut illustration and elements in it. Even if you just use them for inspiration or you just use elements of them, it's a very, very powerful branding tool. And it's got color palettes in it, and it's got mock-up templates, and templates got all sorts of stuff in it. It's quite a high-end thing though, and this was us looking at that balance of how high-end it is. And but as we were looking at it, we looked at the food element, and as you can see, there's some fast food elements in here. And what I actually flagged was, do we need those fast food elements? Are they actually adding anything to the product? It's like, well, actually, sometimes you can almost include too much. And all those are doing really, and we decided all they were doing was diluting the focus of the product. They're making it look a little bit less high end, which makes it look a little bit less valuable. So not many people are going to buy this pack on the strength of doing, like a fast food menu or something. So actually, it's probably more powerful, which we decided to take those out to make the overall product a more kind of valuable proposition. What's the takeaway checklist? Well, it's easy to go blind to your own design work, as I've discussed, and as Tom quite rightly pointed out, you need those breaks. Yet again, and I'll keep going back to this again and again and again, getting feedback drastically speeds up your design process. You're not on your own, get feedback. And the best designers take their pride, they roll it up, they open the window and they chuck it out the window. It's the most difficult thing for us designers to do, and Tom will testify, even for me, if I've got my design work up and I have been working on it for weeks, and occasionally I do get my hands dirty and I do some UI design work or something like that, when you get feedback on it, you really just have to just do this, bite your finger, just suck it up, take a pause and listen to what the other person's saying, because that design work, I know it's your baby. I know you love that design work. You've worked on that design work night and day, but you've got to think, the other person, they're trying to help. They're trying to be constructive. Listen to that feedback, take a pause, take a breather, go away, think about it, and then think, objectively, if you can, What can you take out of that feedback to move your design work forward? Really, really
Mhm.
important.
Yeah, and it's like any habit, the more you do it, the easier it gets, because when you do it and it's a bit painful, but it works and the results are great, you think, oh, I'll do that again because that felt good ultimately with the
It
outcome.
it
Right.
does, and I think, I was bad at it when I was younger, and I like to think as I get older, I get better at it, but it is incredibly difficult because let's face it, we get so passionate about our own work, but,
Yeah.
we've got to realize that when we ask for advice, you then do have to be receptive. That's part of the deal, and
Hmm.
it will help. Right, onto the juicy stuff now. After we've done we did the scope document, or hopefully I managed to keep your attention to do that. The juicy stuff, presentation. And what I'm saying here is it doesn't matter if your product is awesome. If you can't show it, it won't sell. You could have the best product in the world. If you've run out of steam and do mediocre presentation, no one's going to buy it. And conversely, you could have an okay product and you can elevate the presentation and you will get a load more sales. You should always go the extra mile. Now, one of my favorite bits of all of the presentation of the products is this absolutely stunning portrait by Alexei here, who is one of the designers and I hope I pronounced that right if you're listening, because I do really appreciate this. This is one of the designers who worked with Trailhead in developing their product, and it's just stunning. And then we've got some more of the design work down there from 7th Avenue and from Rock as well. Really, really cool. And if we look at some of the presentation, well, I think it just
Boom.
speaks for itself. Just boom. What an absolute work of art, whether it's, Soapworks knocking it out of the park there with their comic book, or Trailhead with his amazing painting. And, if you are into painting, whatever it might be, in Photoshop, in Illustrator, or Procreate, go check out Nathan at Trailhead. He is ridiculously talented. If you're interested in lettering and layout, go and check out Shout Bam. My goodness gracious me, they're off the scale. And if you're interested in textures and elements and using Photoshop, go check out Leslie at French Kiss, because my goodness gracious me, just these are really, really talented people. You
And
know,
you know what? We work with a lot of designers, and I think so many designers out there, they put a lot of effort into the product, and they almost get a bit fatigued. So when it comes to the previews, they rush them, and it just
oh,
undermines all the work that's gone before.
absolutely crazy. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of products we look at Design Cuts, and the amount of products that, because obviously we'd only let the best products into the Design Cuts platform, which is kind of one of the USPs of Design Cuts. We're not like other online digital sellers who will let anyone onto the platform. We're actually quite picky because we want to make sure that
Top
our
1%.
top 1%, yeah, we want our customers to come and look at our products and go, wow. We want, we've got quite a plain user interface, because we play off the fact all the products on our marketplace look amazing. We geek out over it. So going back to these, we're looking at obviously Rocks there, beautiful presentation, really, really just knocked it out of the park with these like high-end branding application. Chris, who's exploring these new colorways and really vibrant, and if you're getting married, don't you want really, really vibrant, modern, or don't you want to be able to recolor it? I know, I would. That'd be awesome. Or we're looking at some of this beautiful lifestyle design over on the right-hand side from 7th Avenue here. Just really, really powerful stuff. So what's the takeaway checklist for this? Well, I think a lot of it's covered by Trailhead here. So show the value proposition. Again, we're going back to that value proposition about showing the benefits, the differentiators, and the problem solved. And Trailhead does it really, really nicely here by just saying right at the beginning, look, I developed this product over the course of 5 months. I developed it with industry-leading designers. I developed it to bridge the gap that I felt existed. So he's making about himself. He's showing his passion for the product. The result is a collection of 300 brushes. Now, it's massive, that feel natural. Yeah, you do. And this is a brush that every designer must have. So you're planting it in their mind. You're kind of giving them that backstory as well. And then you're showing them quality. You're saying this has been quality tested by artists and professionals. And not only that, here's me proving it with some social proof. Here's a designer that's used my product to make a piece of work. Here is the piece of work. And here's the designer saying, I love that you can paint as I usually would. This medium has a totally brilliant, different feel. It's a result. It just ticks every single box.
Hmm.
It's just really creating that such a value proposition to the customer that they can't do anything but click the buy button. You're selling it. And what should you show? You should show everything. Here is just a really, really, and I don't know if anyone just saw Leslie's session. This ties in really nicely with it. And it's funny that I should use this as an example, but it was like the never-ending scroll.
Yeah, right. Did you see everyone commenting that? They're
It
like,
was
let's
really
go.
funny. It's like, and then there's this, and then there's this. And I think the Magpie collection says it all, because it's like Leslie was like, oh, I'll have this, I'll have that. And it just show everything. Nobody wants to buy it. If you're buying a car, would you say, oh, well, here's my car, buy it, and then not show someone what the seats look like, or not show them how the stereo works, or not show them how big the boot is? You want to know all of that stuff. You want to see the seats, you want to see the boot, you want to see everything. Don't be afraid of showing everything, because all you're doing by showing all that is showing people value. If it takes them 10 minutes to look at the size of your amazing product, brilliant. They're not going to think, oh, it's a bit big, but they're certainly going to think, it's a bit small. So
Hmm.
yeah, show them everything. So there we go. Right. You've done all that. You've done all the background. You've spent, weeks on the presentation. You've polished and you've polished and you've polished. Now it's time to think about launch. But before you even launch, you need to think about creating pre-launch buzz. So what's this all about? You need to think about reaching out to your own audience and influencers' audiences as well. And now what does that mean? Well, it's really, really important to, and it might take some time, build your own audience. Now, you build your own audience on Instagram and Facebook, and as French Kiss has done here on their blog, you're reaching out to the design community and saying, look, I care about my design. I care about the type of design I do. In Leslie's case, it might be, I care about textures. Or in Trailhead's sense, it might be, I care about doing realistic digital painting, etc., and about, that kind of thing. And you're building those audiences up over time, but you're also maybe giving them some value as well, saying, look, this is what I've done, this is how I do it, this is what I've found works. And you're building that engagement and audience, and that audience is going to be really, really helpful later on down the line. It'll start small, but it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you can actually market and talk to that audience. And actually, one of the best examples of this is Tom Ross.
Oh,
Tom,
thanks, mate.
you have got a massive audience, and you have built that audience through value. You have built it through caring about your community. You've built it by reaching out and just helping people and just giving value, value, value. Every single post you do is value packed and saying, this is how I can help you. This is how I did it. This is what you can bring into your work. This is how you can move your design career forward. This is how you can do marketing. And because of that, the audience gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when you do want to maybe promote something in as nice a way as possible, then you've got an audience to promote too. You've got an audience to turn around and say, hey, look, I've made this product. See what you think. And the chances are that super engaged audience who geek out over your products are going to go, wow, I'm going to share this with other people. So all of a sudden, you've got other people promoting your products for you. So
Love that.
really, really
Great,
valuable.
great tip.
Yeah. And then, again, Tom, a lot of this is, a lot of this I've learned from you as a marketeer. So, it all goes around and comes around. So influencers audiences. Now, you might have a reasonable size audience, but there's some businesses such as Design Cuts, for instance, we are all about our community. We are all about reaching out and making a really, really big audience of designers tap into our audience. And this is something a lot of the designers do, the best designers out there, such as Shoutbam, Trailhead, French Kiss. They will do sessions with us. They haven't got there overnight. They've leveled up to get there, but eventually they will get to the point where we'll do a little bit of work with them. They'll reach out to us. They'll release a few products, and we pay attention because we see innovative products, and we're like, wow. And then we'll reach out to them and say, look, do you want to do a session with us? Do you want to come and geek out over this with our community?
And then but what are the patterns, Matt? It's the people that go the extra mile, and it's the people that are really nice.
For sure.
It's the awesome people.
It is the awesome people, the people who geek out over design, the true designers who give value, who are caring and giving. People want to work with them, and we want to share those designers with our community. because, we get a lot out of it. Our community gets a lot out of it. Everybody, they get a lot out of it. It's just a massive win across the board, which is kind of what we're all about, really. We want everybody to win. So market to your own community. It's really important to build one, which I think we've covered. Find others with large focus communities, such as Design Cuts. They're the key influencers out there. They've got the ear of the design community. So make those connections with them and slowly build your brand equity, which we talked about right at the beginning. And I'm a bit of a brand evangelist, so it is important to get more leverage and open doors. As I say, you might not be able to get live sessions straight away, but you can get the ear of companies like Design Cuts by just getting out there, being different, being innovative. Again, add value, add value, be nice, reach out, chat, talk. And in the end, it will open those doors just through being nice.
Yeah, love that.
So that's all the pre-launch strategy done. Now it's time. Here we go. It's time to launch your product. Really, really exciting. You want to target as large an audience as possible. So as with the pre-launch, we're talking about your audience. We're talking about, other people's audiences as well. You want to think about promotion channels. Where are you going to actually promote it? Can you get on a live event? Can you reach out to a blog that are interested in textures who might have an audience and say, I'm releasing this product? Would you be interested in, doing an article on it? Or can you reach out to other designers and say, I really respect your work. I've just released this new product. Would you be interested in reviewing on it? Would you be interested in talking about it to your community? Really, really important. Just think about how you can get it out there. And then what's a really good idea is to obviously look at the pricing in detail of your product to make sure it's competitively priced when it comes out. I think a lot of people might make the mistake of thinking, I've worked on this product for a long time. I'm going to charge this much money for it. Well, actually, how much you charge for your product should not just be based on how large a product it is, but it should be based on what other people are charging for similar products. And it's got to be competitive.
Otherwise known as market rate. You have to know that range.
That's exactly it. You find that range and you try and pitch it correctly. And actually, these products are at the top of the range for these similar products in the marketplace, but they kind of deserve to be, really. And there's the size of them does give that. But I will also talk about how the products can be split, these products of this size, into smaller products in a minute. But anyway, these products, as many of the designers do, are going to be launched with a launch discount. Why is a launch discount powerful? It's because it gives someone a reason to buy the product initially when you launch it, and it will give it that initial boost and the emphasis. You've got to give people a reason, create a buzz around the product. You've only got 2 weeks to buy it for this much money. Go and get it now. Really, really important as part of that launch strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the takeaway checklist? Find a platform which will help with your launch strategy. I think that's pretty important. I like to think that Design Cuts is a great platform for doing that. We're not the only one, but we actually care, and we do nurture designers. We like working with them. We like the community. Find someone nice to work with, basically, who can help you with that strategy. Become an authority figure to open marketing doors. So a lot of the big designers out there, such as Lisa Glanz or Shoutbam now, French Kiss, etc., becoming authority figures within their own spaces. So Lisa Glanz is an authority figure in drawing and trailhead in paint, French Kiss in textures, etc. Become that authority figure that people look to for advice, and it will help open marketing doors because people will want to talk about your products. People will want to market your products. Build your own community, create your own engaged audience, and you will get brand evangelists. What's a brand evangelist? It's someone who has got so much engagement out of your brand. They've had so much value that they will go out and tell everybody else about it. These are your marketeers. These are your free marketers, because you have given them so much value. They will go, oh, wow, hey, man, have you seen this guy? They do an awesome job of this. Look at this, look at that. It's, and that kind of word of mouth when it comes to marketing is absolutely invaluable because, as we all know, recommendation is probably the strongest form of marketing.
Yeah, it totally is.
Okay, so we're still going here. We're rolling on launch strategy. Look at these awesome covers, right? Nathan, they just look wicked. So
They're so cool.
aren't they cool? Aren't they absolutely wicked? So post-launch strategy. You've launched the product. You don't just, well, you do kick back and have a cup of tea or have a few beers. And let's face it, after the last 5 months, all of our product designers really deserve to do that. But then what you need to start thinking about is product updates so you can re-promote the product. Now, you can, all those, any tidbits or little bits and bobs where it didn't quite fit into the scope of your product or ideas where you thought, I'll do that later on. You can then think about adding those to the product so you can re-promote it. Or as Shoutband were talking about earlier, what they were trying to do was reach out to their community and say, hey, look, guys, we've got this awesome product. What are your ideas? What would you like to see? How would you like to see it improved? Because they know what they can then do is they can then take those improvements, they can roll them into the product, and not only will that be great for their brand equity, because everyone will go, wow, Shoutband really care and listen to their audience, which they totally do, but they can re-promote the product as well, because they can say, do you know what, you have to do this and this, and the key influencers such as Design Cuts who market the product will then reach out to their community and say, hey guys, this awesome product you all loved, check it out now, it's got this as well. It's for Illustrator all of a sudden, it's for this, it's for that, it's got this, it's got that. Really, really powerful.
Yeah, it is. One of the best examples of this is Lisa Glanz, actually,
Oh
with
yeah.
her with the portrait creator, because people say,
Oh,
hey,
sure.
can you cover like this body shape or this hairstyle or whatever? She then
Brilliant
makes it
portrait
and then says,
creator.
hey, I listened to you, and here you go, and then it gets the fanfare.
Absolutely, and she just looks as she is, really awesome and caring. But it's a great marketing strategy as well. Just again, it's all about these. And again, if you're a nice person, you just tend to get these wins all around because you're
Hmm.
listening and you're being caring, and people notice.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
With all of these really big products that we're actually making now, we actually think about also how those products might be split down into individual smaller products and also sold at a lower price point. Because somebody might not, but as I said, they are at the upper end of the price point for those. So what you might also want to do is say you've got a product for $40, which is comprehensive and comes in lots of different flavors, covers lots of different bases. You might be able to split it down. Great example of this is the Ultimate Brush Toolbox, because if you just want the oil paint version, you can buy it. If you just want the watercolor version, you can buy it. If you just want the charcoal version, you can buy it. But you're buying it at a price point of say $15 or $20, where it's beneficial to buy the largest pack, because you'd still look at it and think, oh, maybe I should buy the complete version because I'll get them all now. But if you're strapped for cash, if you just want the smaller version, or if you're only interested in watercolor, it covers that base as well. So you've got a much bigger footprint for that product. And you can imagine, this one product is now covering lots more bases. You need a big product to do it, but it's a great strategy. All of these products, right from the get-go, where we're thinking in that way, which meant that when we put the previews together, you don't kind of have to redo the previews, if that makes sense, because you kind of section up the previews and you just have to make maybe a few more little mock-ups maybe to go in with it in a new cover, and then you can split the product up.
Nice.
So consider the product life cycle and the different audiences to market to. Lots of designers are scared to put their products in bundles. But the thing is, and what we know, and what some bigger designers such as Lisa Glanz knows, that they're not afraid to do it because it's actually a different audience. Because the people who want to buy your product right now, or the people who want to buy your product for a project they're doing right now and have the money to do it, are different to the audience who might be willing to wait to get it at a later time and who haven't got as much money, who might want to buy it from a bundle. So don't be scared.
We've really seen that play out, and
Yeah, we see it play out again and again and again.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of data and research behind the scenes into this, and there's a reason why many of the top designers in the world kind of, they factor this into their strategy in a very deliberate way.
They totally do. All the top designers that we work with are not afraid of doing it because they've actually worked it out, or they've been working for years and they've realized that it's the best way to make as much money as possible. You just shouldn't be afraid of doing it. Okay. So takeaway checklists for your products that you might be making. Updating your product can generate more revenue because you can remarket it. You should continue promoting and developing your product after it's launched. You can get a lot of legs out of this. And if you haven't looked at Lisa Glanz's products, they're a perfect example. They will be updated and updated, and you'll spin out products from products, and or if there's another idea which has got a great synergy with a product, such as the kickoff lettering and the sleigh out, it's worth kind of releasing products with a really good synergy, because you can market those two products off the back of each other, which is useful for the designer, but it's also useful for us companies or people who run companies who sell those digital products. And yet think about those audiences that you can sell to throughout the entire life cycle. And just don't be afraid of that, because it's just the best way to make as much money as possible. At the beginning of the year, I spent really very large chunk of time writing a free course for design cuts called the Product Academy, which goes through the opportunity which is inherent in design products, how to find your talent, how to define your audience, how to create your brand, how to research your product, how to create, how to present, and how to market your product. So if you are new to product design and you're wondering how to get started, or even if you're an established designer and you want the tick lists to go through when you're creating your products to make sure they're going to hit the spot and they're going to sell, it's there, and it's totally free. There are extensive articles for you to go through. And as I said, also off the back of that, there's my Instagram as well. And as I think of new things which I would like to add to the Product Academy going forward, they will go into Instagram first, and then the Product Academy will get updated with them later. So the freshest stuff, the newest stuff is in Instagram, but all that core stuff, all the core value is sitting in the Product Academy. And please do use it. I've had sort of great feedback from a lot of sort of industry leading designers on it already. So yeah.
So cool. I want to talk about this Product Academy, because this is our big secret announcement that I kept mentioning throughout today. And I know Matt just gave some context about it, but I kind of want to just chime in from my perspective. This is unbelievably valuable. And you're all here because you're interested in creating digital products. I am so proud of what Matt has put together here. The amount of work that's gone into this is enormous. This is basically a fully fledged course. So if you found today useful, yeah. Oh, here we go.
Just to show you an article.
Let's have a quick look. And I just wanted to say, this is the most extensive course in the world for how to create digital design products, and it's free. Like there's stuff out there which people might be charging for. This is the most comprehensive course in the world when it comes to this, and we decided to put it out for free because we just wanted to help you. And Matt killed it with this course. It's so good.
Oh, very kind, Tom. I mean, I love copywriting. I love writing copy, and I love helping designers. So it was a joy to me to put it together, to be honest with you. And if we look at the presentation article, for instance, it just goes on and on and on. It tells you about your value proposition, how to identify the benefits, what makes the benefits valuable, how to solve the problems, how to differentiate yourself. And then it shows you examples of products that do exactly that. It shows you about the presentation. What's good presentation? Why is it good presentation? How to design a cover. What should you include in the cover? You should include your logo, your value proposition, the depth of the product compatibility. Pick the best bits, design it in place. Here's how to design it in place. Here's an example of a fantastic cover in place. You should make it stand out. And then it just goes on and on. I'll have to hit the scroll bar because it goes on and on and on and on.
I mean, what this course is, it's so systematic that there's no more guesswork. If you're creating digital products, you can just work through this course start to finish, and it's like the world's longest checklist where you can just go check as you go through it.
It's got the tips in it all the way through, and at the end of each of the articles, it does actually have a checklist. So whichever stage you're going at, you can go through it and say, have I done that? Have I done that? Have I included that? Have I done that? Have I done that? It just basically demystifies the whole process, and it gives you that structure to make your products, which is so valuable, I think.
And I have to say, ultimately, Matt was the one who created this, so it was his decision. I'm really glad we're putting this out for free, and that Matt signed off on that, because we did the maths, and there was a lot of money that could have been made selling this because the value is so enormous. But it makes me so happy that this is going to help thousands and thousands and thousands of aspiring product creators out there for free. That kind of just sat better with us.
It does, and really after seeing designers such as Chris from Pretty Little Lines, after you've been in the industry for years, and you see people's work get better and better, and you see their products get better and better, and especially when you start having an input into that and an input into their brand and helping with their brand, you get really passionate about it, and you just want to help. You just want to help them, and often designers I've worked with in the past will reach out again and say, what do you think about this or this product I'm doing, and I'm really happy just to chat about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's so cool. And I saw a few comments saying people would love to kind of get that hands-on approach the exclusive product designer's got. Obviously, we can't give that on
we
an
can't,
individual basis for
unfortunately.
everyone,
Yeah.
but this gives you everything. So all of these exclusive product designers that Matt collaborated with, he actually made them read through this entire course first, and that's why they pretty much were nailing it from
For
day
sure.
one, because that put them
Yeah.
ahead of the crowd, and then Matt could just help them finesse it from there.
That was exactly it. Unfortunately, I just don't have the bandwidth to help every designer out there. There's already some sort of designers that are starting out I help with, but yeah. So this was the best way. This is the best use of my time to help as many designers as possible, and I think it is probably the best way to help people. It
Incredible
is.
job. Shout out to you. You've smashed
Thank
this.
you. And obviously, this session will go in the Go in our Learning Hub, and it will be there for free forever. The Product Academy is there for free forever. You're not on your own. This help is there. If you want to start out, your own career in product design, if you want to start it out as a side hustle and then scale up, as so many designers do, this help is there to actually do it. And you can, as the leading designers know out there, make an awful lot of money, actually, really an awful lot of money, and do it on your own terms. As anyone who's worked as a commercial designer, including myself, knows, sometimes it feels like you're not doing it on your own terms. You're getting the client saying, hey, can you make the logo bigger, or can you make it pop, or they give you like 3 pages of text content to fit on an A3 printed literature, and you're like, oh, for the love of but when you're making products for yourself based around your own passion, you can do whatever you want to do. And it's the feedback, and some of the feedback and testimonials we have in the Product Academy from designers says exactly that. It's just like a breath of fresh air. Finally, I can do what I want to do on my own terms.
Love that. Matt, what do you think about the branding pack? Should we do something next week to show that, or do you want to
No,
potentially today? I know we're quite late.
I can totally. Well, I've got the time if everyone else is willing to look for a minute, because it is a beautiful pack.
Okay,
but it will go, as with all of the exclusive products, it goes on forever. But it has lifestyle, IT, it's got beauty, it's got kids, stunning, high-end, over 500 logos, illustrational samples, color schemes, seamless patterns, bonus designs, templates. If you want to create a brand quickly for a client, and let's face it, who doesn't want to do that and do it quickly, or who hasn't gone to create a brand and found it difficult to find the inspiration initially, here is a fantastic resource for doing that at your fingertips. So yeah, hopefully Vera is watching this from 7th Avenue, and I'm sorry, Vera, that you couldn't be on to show off your product, because I think it's absolutely stunning.
It is. It's
and
amazing.
The branding work is just absolutely gorgeous. So I wish I'd had it when I was doing brand design, because I'd have bought it, and it would have been a fantastic shortcut to produce.
Just go up for a sec, Matt. I love the herbal. Yeah, that's so gorgeous.
Beautiful? Yeah, it's really, really cool. And a really, really powerful thing you should think about in all your presentations: mock-up templates. Bridge that imagination gap, But we could do an entire session just on bridging the imagination gap with mock-ups, because if you want to sell products, prove that your product can make commercial products look nice by using mock-up templates, because people shouldn't have to guess. And we see so many products where it's like, here's what's in my product. It's like, and
it's
I
cold.
can't get
Yeah.
excited. It's cold. I can't get excited by that. But do you know what I can get really excited by? I can get excited by some branding, a business card, and a menu. I can get excited by all this stuff. I can get excited by these bright, colourful business cards.
What
logos,
What I hope people can see with this pack, I mean, this, you have to check it out to point to this branding pack. It is so extensive, hundreds of logo templates, patterns, illustrations.
I love the kids stuff. It's really super sweet.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and
and it's
it's stunning. I hope people can see what you just talked about, Matt. as you're going through this, all of the points you mentioned are on this page.
Everything is here. Everything is here. And you know what? We thought so carefully about how each of these were focused towards that brand sector. How do kids' logos look? You know, they look like this. These, when you look at these, you instantly know it's for a children's brand. It's playful, it's warm, you know, but yet still at the same time, it's got that credibility. A lot of the logos are just text-based. They're just logo types. And as you've probably noticed or may not have done, you know, all big brands out there generally just end up with a logo type because people are used to big brands having logos which are just logo types. So if you want to make your company look credible, don't have an illustration with it, or have a minimal illustration with it, because that's what all the big brands do. So you can instantly
simple.
Look, exactly. Really, really simple stuff. Super cute.
Are they built with free fonts? They are. That's the beauty. Yeah. It's all free fonts, so you can definitely use all of those logo templates.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's all usable. That just goes on forever. Okay. and on and on and on and on. Okay.
The social media templates. But
there's loads of templates with it actually. That was all because bonuses are really important as well. Sorry, Tom. So I was like, stick a load of bonuses in it. Get all the social media templates, all the business card templates. Put it in there. You know, this is a one-stop shop for branding at the end of the day. So you don't want to have to go to anything else.
Yeah, take it away, Matt.
Okay, I was just going to say just a few final takeaways before I wrap up, which is absorb ideas and direction. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. You know, immerse yourself in other people's products. Look at what everyone else is doing. Find those niches. Find those cracks in the market to exploit, to pour your products into, because you know people are out there and they're saying what they want. We just have to listen to what they want. And when you create a product, it's all about the audience. You know, yeah, it's about you and it's about your design passion, but this is a product for sale. Don't forget your audience. You know, don't forget your audience. Put them at the core of everything you do. Give them value.
Love that.
Listen to advice and feedback. It's a shortcut to success. If you don't take anything else away from this session, please take that away, because it's so important for any designer who's starting out just to find that network of other designers. Don't be an island. You know, if you're an island, it will take you so much longer to develop your design career than it will if you just reach out and you're just, you know, part of a design community. I know we all want to hide behind our giant monitors. I know I do, but it's good to talk as well. Yeah, you're not on your own. Reach out for help. You know, other designers are out there. They've all been there, and they all want to help you out. You know, it might not be in terms of talking to you all the time, but a lot of the big designers who don't have the time to talk constantly to, you know, will release free content. You know, look at the likes of Lisa Glanz. Look at the likes of Shoutbam. They're releasing value. Go follow them on Instagram. See what they're doing, and you know, just take their help on board. And finally. Oh, that was on the wrong screen. There was a big jump roll, nothing happened. Thank you. Massive, huge, giant thank you to the exclusive product designers this year. You were absolutely awesome. You took it to the next level. Yeah. You pushed yourself. You pulled out all the stops. You got RSI whilst doing it. Leslie, my goodness gracious me, that's above and beyond. You know, you just took yourselves to the next level, and you proved what it is to be a designer. You were passionate, you were kind, you were thoughtful, you listened, you progressed your own design work, and it's all about the audience, and you released something new and something exciting to make other designers smile. So thank you so much.
Let's give it up for Matt. Unbelievable session.